losing custody and visitation rights. The 5th year after my divorce from Shen Yanxiu. While working at a kindergarten, I saw him again, the man who had argued so fiercely against me in court. He came with a boy who resembled me. He said calmly and naturally, "The child misses his mother, so I brought him to see you." Remembering the warning he gave me at the time of the divorce, I replied with the same calm tone, "You've mistaken the person. I'm not his mother." The next moment, the child hiding behind him ran towards me crying, pleading through sobs, "Mommy, don't abandon me. Don't say that. Lele is still your child," saying that will hurt his heart. He lowered his eyes, his tone gentle, completely lacking the indifference with which he warned me 5 years ago, when we divorced. Until now, I often recall what he said back then. "Jiang Nianchu, from now on, the child has nothing to do with you. If you dare to secretly approach him, I will contact the police to apply for enforcement and make sure you never see him again." But now, he says the child misses me and brought him to see me. I lowered my eyes, looking at the boy clinging to my leg and crying pitifully, and asked him in a low voice, "Does Su Zhixia know you brought him here?" Su Zhixia was once his assistant. She is now his wife, the child's nominal mother. She was also the woman Shen Yanxiu protected 5 years ago, willing to betray our marriage and send me to hell. Shen Yanxiu's lips moved slightly, but he couldn't say a word. After a long while, he reacted, and a hint of astonishment appeared in his eyes as he looked at me. "Nianchu, you can speak?" After the words left his mouth, he realized his phrasing was wrong and corrected himself. "No, I mean you can speak a complete sentence." I had a severe speech impediment since I was a child. I stuttered and couldn't say a complete sentence for a long time. Many people around me called me Little Stutter. Shen Yanxiu specifically bought me a diary so that he could communicate with me normally. He said that when I encountered something urgent, I should write it down. When it wasn't urgent, he would use all his patience to let me tell him slowly. But later, when he confessed that he had fallen in love with another woman and wanted a divorce, I cried and wanted to ask him why. As soon as I said one word, he impatiently interrupted me. He said with an extremely impatient expression, "Jiang Nianchu, what's the difference between you and a mute? Do you know how tiring it is for me to work hard outside every day and then have to listen to you speak with patience? You just want to know why I like Zhixia, right? Then I'll tell you. I feel relaxed when I'm with her. She can give me timely responses to everything I say. She understands my hardships and knows how to solve my problems. But what about you?" When he said these words, he didn't seem to remember. It was he who once said, "Nian Nian, no matter what kind of person you are, you will always be the unique Jiang Nianchu in my heart." He knew that I was always insecure because of my speech impediment. But for another woman, he ruthlessly used my pain to pierce my heart. I didn't respond to his words, gently pushing away the boy clinging to my leg. I said to Shen Yanxiu, "Take him back, and don't come looking for me again." Saying that, I didn't look at them again, and turned to walk towards the office. At this time, Shen Yanxiu looked at my leaving back, tears welling up in his watery eyes. He cried out helplessly, "Mommy, don't go, I want mommy." Hearing the cries from behind, my footsteps faltered slightly, but I didn't stop. I returned to the office. My best friend Lin Yan, who was processing teaching materials, looked up. "Nian Nian, I heard someone was looking for you, who is it?" "No. Why are you crying?" Hearing her say that, I reached out and touched the corner of my eye. Sure enough, I felt a wetness on my hand. Before Shen Yanxiu brought the child, I thought I had already let go. I thought that in the future, when I saw the child accidentally, I could greet him like a stranger with relief. Say, "Do you remember me? I held you when you were little." But the truth is, it seems, I have never let go. I pursed my lips, forcefully suppressing the emotions surging in my heart, and said in a trembling voice, "Shen Yanxiu came looking for me with a child."
What?
Lin Yan heard this long-absent name, and endless anger quickly surged in her heart. "What is that scum doing looking for you? Hasn't he hurt you enough? Where is he? I'm going to kill him." She abruptly opened the drawer, took out the fruit knife inside, and pretended to rush out to find him. Just then, she suddenly remembered something and said with a worried look, "Did they bring the police when they came? This doesn't count as you actively meeting the child, so there shouldn't be any impact, right?" The day after I divorced Shen Yanxiu, the nanny at home called me. She said that Shen Yanxiu and Su Zhixia had gone out to celebrate their anniversary. The child at home had a high fever. The nanny had something to do and couldn't take care of him, asking if I could go. As soon as I heard that the child had a high fever that wouldn't go down, I panicked and rushed over in a taxi. But when I was taking the child to the hospital for an examination, Shen Yanxiu and Su Zhixia rushed over with 2 policemen. Before I could say anything, I heard Shen Yanxiu say coldly, "Jiang Nianchu, you have ignored the judgment and secretly taken the child away. I will apply for enforcement, and you will never see him again." The The child in my arms still had a fever, and I wanted to remind him to take the child for an examination. But he directly snatched the child from my arms, handed him to Su Zhixia next to him, and looked at me coldly. You remember this. The child's mother is Su Zhixia. He has nothing to do with you anymore. He had the police take me away. He said he would give me a profound lesson. I was locked up inside for 3 days. The day I was released, Lin Yan came to pick me up crying. She looked at my empty gaze and said to me crying, Nian Nian, let's leave here and start a new life, okay? In the 5 years since I left, I have never set foot in Nanching again. I thought that way. I would never see that angel who brought me hope again, and the devil who pushed me into the endless hell. No, don't worry, we won't meet again in the future, I said confidently, because I knew that the Shen Yanxiu, who was patient with me, had long disappeared. But I didn't expect it. When I got off work the next day, he came with the child again. Nian Nian, today is the child's birthday, and his birthday wish is that you can have dinner with him. For the sake of the child, will you consider it? Shen Yanxiu seemed to have a lot to say. His eyes were filled with eager anticipation. Shen Yanxiu, standing next to him, was also looking at me with the same expectant look. The next moment, Lin Yan didn't know where she came from. She raised the basin of water in her hand and splashed it at him. You bastard, what face do you have to come looking for Nian Nian? Get out. She doesn't want to see you. His tall figure was quickly soaked with water, while Shen Yanxiu, standing next to him, was clean. Shen Yanxiu pursed his thin lips tightly, his deep gaze falling on me, but he remained silent. Lin Yan looked at the way he was staring at me and sarcastically curled the corners of her mouth. What? Are you thinking about what charge you're going to use to threaten Nian Nian again? I'm telling you, one person is responsible for their own actions. Don't even think about using me to threaten her again. When Shen Yanxiu proposed divorce, wanting to give Su Zhixia a home, I stubbornly refused to divorce him, and even more so, refused to relinquish custody of our child. At that time, I still held some hope for him, thinking that he would lose interest in Su Zhixia and return to our family, giving me and our child a complete home. But reality proved I was too naive. When Lin Yan found out he was divorcing me and fighting for custody, she went to their law firm like a madwoman. She found Su Zhixia and publicly berated her as a homewrecker, slapping her several times. As a result, Su Zhixia and Shen Yanxiu turned around and sued Lin Yan for intentional injury and defamation. Shen Yanxiu is a renowned divorce lawyer. He knows exactly how to act without leaving evidence that could be used against him. What I knew was only what he wanted me to know. So, when I hired a lawyer to help Lin Yan, and the lawyer asked me to provide evidence of Shen Yanxiu's affair to try and counterattack, I couldn't produce anything. He cleverly avoided anything that could be discovered. His phone wallpaper was a picture of me and our child, and his chat history with Su Zhixia was all about work. He and Su Zhixia always met in public with other people present. I couldn't find any evidence. I knelt on the ground crying, begging him to let Lin Yan go. His eyes showed no emotion, and with the condescension of someone in a superior position, he told me, now you only have one choice. Agree to the divorce, give up custody, or I will make sure Lin Yan pays the price. Because of this, I couldn't sleep at night. I had to rely on sleeping pills to stay asleep. However, I didn't expect that on the day he filed for divorce, he presented pictures of me taking sleeping pills and kneeling before him, crying and begging. He told everyone that I was mentally unstable and, as a stay-at-home mom, had no ability to care for a child and was not qualified to have custody. I have a severe speech impediment, which is exacerbated by extreme stress. Upon hearing his words, standing in the defendant's seat, I tried to explain. But everyone in the courtroom looked at me with puzzlement, sympathy, and impatience. I opened my mouth, desperately trying to speak, but I couldn't make a sound. I could only look at him pleadingly. He looked away, without any hint of compassion. He presented the diary he had given me. While I was unable to speak, he struck another heavy blow, his voice deep and steady. Jiang Nianchu is mute. This is her diary, which she uses to communicate with me. She can't even use basic language. How can she possibly be a mother? The person who knew me best knew exactly how to destroy me. He mercilessly stabbed me in my sore spots, one after another. But I couldn't say a word in rebuttal. I wanted to tell everyone that I was a mute, but as the time allotted to me passed, I still couldn't say a single word. In the end, I lost completely. When I received the verdict and walked out of the courthouse, Shen Yanxiu and Su Zhixia, holding our 1-year-old child, approached me, who felt empty and lost. Su Zhixia had a victor's smile on her face and chuckled. Sister Nianchu, you can rest assured and leave the child to me. I will definitely treat him as my own and raise him to adulthood with Yanxiu. Shen Yanxiu looked at her with the same tenderness he once had for me. He said in a low voice, I believe you. It's definitely better for the child to be raised by you than by her. Then his gaze fell on me, and he said something that pierced me again. Jiang Nianchu, don't blame me for taking your custody. You probably don't want the child to be asked, when he goes to school, why his mother is a stuttering mute, right? He easily took everything from me and then told me not to blame him. The sunlight that day was warm, but I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar. My whole body was bone-chillingly cold. I cried pathetically, asking him again and again why he was doing this to me. All that answered me was the sight of them turning and walking away with our child. Shen Yanxiu was silent and didn't say anything, letting her be sarcastic. Shen Yanxiu, however, spoke cautiously. A look of expectation and unease in his eyes fell on me. Dad said it was difficult for Mom when she gave birth to me. Today is my birthday and also Mom's day of suffering, so I took out all my pocket money, wanting to treat Mom to a meal. The day I gave birth to Shen Yanxiu, Shen Yanxiu was out of town helping someone handle a divorce case. We were both orphans from the same orphanage. We didn't have parents to help us. My cervix hadn't reached 10 centimeters. I was placed in the waiting room to wait. I was in so much pain that I couldn't breathe. I cried and called out Shen Yanxiu's name. I was very scared and kept hoping that he could come back and be with me soon. But he couldn't get away and could only give me a video call. Back then, Shen Yanxiu was still the Shen Yanxiu who would feel sorry for me. On the other end of the video, he paced back and forth in the hallway, holding his phone anxiously, his voice trembling as he comforted me. Nian Nian, don't be afraid. You and the baby will be fine. I'll come back and be with you soon. I'll tell you a story, don't cry, okay? He started telling me a beautiful fairy tale. Even though the story was wonderful, his eyes turned red. His voice gradually choked up. No more Nian Nian, after this child. We won't have any more. No one expected his words to be prophetic. After Shen Yanxiu, we really had no future. But no one knew that Shen Yanxiu and Su Zhixia's story also began that day. While I was suffering in the delivery room, he got drunk and walked into the same room as Su Zhixia. When I gave birth and sent him a message to let him know that mother and child were safe, he was just finishing a fierce battle. But the next day, he sent me a message, telling me that he had just woken up from being drunk. And that message was sent by Su Zhixia using his phone. He was guilty about his betrayal of me, but at the same time he was attracted to her lively and cheerful personality. It was from that time on that he gradually lost his patience with me. Many times, I had only said one word, and he would impatiently interrupt. Write down what you want to say. The child is a light sleeper. Your constant talking will disturb him. But late at night, when Su Zhixia called him because she was in a bad mood, he could patiently comfort her all night. Knowing that she wasn't satisfied with being a paralegal, he easily broke his own rule of not taking on disciples and took her under his wing. Then, regardless of industry rules, he allowed her to handle divorce cases with him even though she wasn't qualified. He gave her all his favor. When others questioned it, he said lightly, because she deserves it. Why she deserved it was something only he knew. But he was a partner at the law firm. Even if people were dissatisfied, they didn't dare to question him further. At this moment, hearing Shen Yanxiu's words, Lin Yan's eyes revealed a hint of sarcasm. You're right. The day you were born was indeed her day of suffering, but do you know who caused her suffering? Lin Yan. Shen Yanxiu, who had been silent all along, showed a flicker of panic in his eyes. He called her name with a warning. No matter how bad a person is, they will instinctively try to cover up in front of a child, afraid. Attorney Shen, where did I go wrong? Isn't her suffering you're doing? You personally deprived Nian Nian of her rights as a mother back then, and now you bring the child to find her. Shen Yanxiu, aren't you disgusting? Back then, when I took the child to the hospital, Shen Yanxiu called the police. After I came out, I suffered from severe depression. I stopped saying a word, always sitting alone in a corner, silent and dazed. At night, I couldn't help but stand on the balcony and look out at the lights of thousands of homes. As I looked, I began to think, if I jumped down, would everything end? Just as this thought grew stronger and my body began to lean forward, Lin Yan rushed out of the darkness. She quickly pulled me off the balcony, holding me and crying loudly. During the time I was depressed, she couldn't sleep or eat well. She felt that if she hadn't been impulsive that day, if Shen Yanxiu hadn't held a handle on her, the child's custody wouldn't have been taken away so easily. She fell into deep guilt. To get me to eat, she cried and knelt on the ground, begging me, slapping her face with my hand. Nian Nian hit me. If it wasn't for my foolishness, you and the child wouldn't have been separated. If you have anger in your heart, vent it on me. Don't hold it in, I beg you. Looking at her eyes full of pleading and despair, I finally couldn't help but cry loudly. I knew the problem wasn't with her. Even if she did nothing, Shen Yanxiu would definitely use any means to achieve his goals. This was exactly where I felt most powerless. I knew what methods he would use against me, but I had no way to fight back. I was like one of the thousands of floating dust, unable to find a place to settle, a place to rely on. Nian Nian, the child is innocent. No matter what happens to us adults, we shouldn't involve the child. Shen Yanxiu ignored her, shifting his gaze to me. Lulu is still a piece of flesh that fell from you. Are you really heartless enough to reject his little request? Perhaps afraid that I wouldn't agree, he continued. As long as you agree to eat with him, I won't disturb you, and there won't be a repeat of the past, Nian Nian, no matter what. He has your blood flowing through him. You are always mother and son. Can you not be so cold to him? Hearing his words, I couldn't help but recall what he said. Lily's mother will only be Zhixia from now on. It has nothing to do with you. Thinking of this, I wanted to laugh. Shen Yanxiu took out all the pocket money he had saved from his little backpack. With tears in his eyes, he pleaded, Mom, just have a meal with me. After we finish eating, I'll go home with Dad and never look for you again, okay? When the child was just born, I secretly vowed that I would give him the best. I wanted him to experience the maternal love I had never received. To let him know that he was loved from birth. Perhaps God finally knew my thoughts and allowed me to welcome a 5-year late time with him. I agreed to have a meal with him. Only Lin Yen came with us. Shen Yanxiu kept his promise, always keeping a distance of 10 meters from us, not getting close. But I don't know why, I could always feel a burning gaze closely following me. Arriving at the restaurant, Shen Yanxiu quickly shed his caution, revealing the innocence of an ordinary child. He asked me, Mom, can I have a kid's meal? I nodded and ordered him a kid's meal. When I looked up to ask Lin Yen what she wanted to eat, I noticed him staring at me intently. Instinctively, I asked him, Why are you looking at me? His chubby face flashed with hesitation, and he said softly, Mom at home always says I look more and more like you. I didn't think so when I saw your photo before, but now that I see you, I realize we really do look alike. When he said Mom at home, he was referring to Su Zhixia. I looked at him, his eyebrows and eyes resembling mine. A feeling I couldn't describe welled up in my heart. Is she good to you? Other people's children are bullied by their stepmothers, and their biological mothers can be their support, able to appear at any time to protect them. But I, who had been deprived of visitation rights, even seeing him was a luxury. It's okay. Mom is sometimes good, sometimes very fierce. Every time Dad stares at me, she gets very fierce, doesn't let me eat, doesn't let me watch cartoons, and locks me in the room, but when Dad buys her gifts and makes her happy, she'll make me cola chicken wings. He was more talkative than I expected. Once he started talking, he couldn't stop. I listened carefully, occasionally chiming in. Lin Yan had been on edge the whole time, afraid that Su Zhixia would suddenly pop out from somewhere. But as the atmosphere became more relaxed, she couldn't help but interject a few words. After finishing the meal, according to the agreement, Shen Yanxiu was supposed to take him away. Shen Yanxiu, however, refused to let go of my hand, looking downcast and unhappy. Shen Yanxiu, what did you say just now? Have you forgotten? I tried to let go of his hand, but he held it even tighter. Mom, I don't want to leave you, Nian Nian, Su Zhixia is away on a business trip, he can stay with you tonight. Shen Yanxiu's words made the tears welling up in Shen Yanxiu's eyes fill with anticipation. But before I could respond, a sharp and piercing voice came from not far away. Police officers, it's her. She's once again disregarding the court's ruling and seeing the child privately. Arrest her quickly. Su Zhixia, wearing a professional woman's suit, walked towards us with 2 police officers. The look she gave me was full of hatred. She gnashed her teeth and said, Jiang Nianchu, after 5 years, you are still Busku. Is this your child? You're just taking him out to eat. Saying that, she grabbed Shen Yanxiu and pulled him over, her movements not very gentle, rubbing his mouth. What do you want to eat that I haven't given you? How can your mouth be so greedy? Are you afraid someone will poison you? The skin of children is naturally fair and tender. After she rubbed it a few times casually, Shen Yanxiu's mouth was noticeably red. Enough. Su Zhixia, I brought Lele to see her. She didn't actively approach the child. Shen Yanxiu cast a look of guilt at me and explained the situation to the police, asking them to leave first. Shen Yanxiu, what do you mean by this? I'm Lele's mother. Why did you bring him to see her behind my back? Her face turned from pale to green with anger. Or are you still hung up on her and want to remarry her? I was wondering why you suddenly took a vacation recently. It turns out you came to find her. Jiang Nianchu, are you that desperate? If a man comes after you, you want him? Are you so desperate for a man that you want me to introduce you to a few? The temperature in my eyes dropped, and I looked at her indifferently. Attorney Su, as a lawyer, you should know what defamation and child abuse are, right? In a family where a mistress takes over, no woman treats the original wife's child well, even though the child was snatched through unscrupulous means. If she really treated Shen Yanxiu well, he wouldn't inadvertently show fear in his eyes when he mentioned her. Child abuse. Su Zhixia laughed, her eyes full of provocation and smugness. Miss Jiang speaks so knowingly. One would think you've raised a child before. I've raised this child for 4 years. I know what he likes and dislikes better than anyone else. Why are you saying I abuse him? She was doing it on purpose, deliberately using those words to provoke me. It's just a pity that I am no longer the same as before. I ignored her and looked at Shen Yanxiu. Shen Yanxiu, what did I do to offend you? That you fought so hard for custody of the child back then, to take revenge on me. No. Nian, I never meant that. Shen Yanxiu tried to explain, but found that all the explanations seemed incredibly pale now. He could only tell the truth. Su Zhixia has a problem with her uterus and can't have children. Lele will be our only child.
Ah.
Shen Yanxiu, why did you tell her this? Su Zhixia screamed as if she were crazy. Not being able to have children and not wanting to have children are two different concepts. At this moment, I finally understood why they fought so hard for custody of the child back then. Shen Yanxiu was stolen by Su Zhixia, and the happiness she wanted was also stolen by her. So she was afraid. She was afraid that someone like her would appear one day and easily steal Shen Yanxiu's love. She had witnessed Shen Yanxiu's decisiveness towards me during the divorce. She was afraid that one day she would follow my old path and be ruthlessly abandoned by him. Enough. This isn't some unspeakable secret. Stop making a fuss. Aren't you ashamed? Ashamed? Who do you think caused all this? If you hadn't secretly brought the child to see her, would I have dropped everything at work and rushed over here? Shen Yanxiu valued his reputation the most, especially when faced with Su Zhixia's unreasonable behavior. His gaze suddenly turned cold, and he uttered a phrase, incomprehensible. Just like when the court's verdict came out. We walked out of the courthouse and saw a divorced couple arguing at the entrance over property issues. A look of contempt flashed in his eyes, and he abruptly said, incomprehensible. Then he turned to me and said, Jiang Nianchu, luckily you didn't argue as mindlessly as this crazy woman. It wasn't that I didn't want to argue. I also wanted to make a scene like ordinary people, bringing his affairs to the law firm, making it known to everyone, letting everyone know about him and Su Zhixia. Unfortunately, I couldn't even clearly and completely finish a sentence. I couldn't even find evidence of his affair with Su Zhixia. After Shen Yanxiu said those words, he left with Shen Yanxiu. Su Zhixia glared at me fiercely and followed closely behind. Crazy woman. As if anyone wants that worthless person. If you're so afraid of him being seduced, you should buy a dog leash and chain him up. Lin Yan cursed loudly as she watched them leave. I smiled helplessly and went home with her. The next day, as soon as I arrived at the kindergarten gate, the security guard handed me a beautifully packaged gift box. Teacher Jiang, a man sent this early this morning. He said it's for you. Take a look. I took it in confusion and opened it. I saw a transparent plastic box filled with stars lying inside. On the first day Shen Yanxiu and I were together, he wove a star for me from thin bamboo strips in the bamboo forest behind the orphanage. He said, in the future, for every day that passes, I'll give you a star. When this box is full, I'll grant you a wish. Can it be any wish? He smiled and nodded, then quickly lowered his face. He warned, you're not allowed to mention breaking up, that wish is excluded. You can't get rid of me. On the day he divorced, the plastic box was exactly full of the stars he had given me. I found the box from the closet, crying miserably and choked out. I want to make a wish, not divorce. I said that sentence with difficulty. It was also the first time he heard me finish a complete sentence after he lost all patience with me. But he forgot his promise to me. He snatched the box from my hand and threw it into the trash can. He said indifferently, Jiang Nianchu, don't be so naive anymore. Let the past be the past. I won't change my mind about the divorce, and you shouldn't fantasize anymore. He personally gave me hope, and then personally destroyed my hope. Looking at the box in my hand, I didn't hesitate and threw it directly into the trash can next to me. Just like he said, let the past be the past. But in the afternoon, he came again. This time he didn't bring Shen Yanxiu. He used a flattering tone and said to me, I really didn't know Su Zhixia would come here either. I apologize to you for what she said to you yesterday. As compensation, let me treat you to dinner, and by the way, you can use those stars to make any wish to me.
I don't know why.
I seemed to see a hint of expectation in his eyes. No need. Compared to what you said to me before, what she said is nothing. Shen Yanxiu, I have no wish to make to you. You can go. The corners of Shen Yanxiu's mouth, which had just risen, gradually flattened after I said those words. He couldn't believe it and asked again, you really don't have any wishes? Like, letting me agree to your visitation rights with the child, or letting me and Su Zhixia divorce. Hearing this, I suddenly understood why he sent me the wish stars. He was tired of Su Zhixia and wanted to divorce her. But his pride prevented him from admitting it. So he wanted me to suggest that they divorce, so he could achieve his desired goal with peace of mind. Shen Yanxiu, if I wished for you to completely leave my world, would you agree? Nian, do you hate me that much? Don't you want to see me? His eyes were red and his voice choked. At the time of the divorce, he gave me 100,000 yuan as compensation and said to me, "You haven't worked much in recent years, and you've been supported by me. I have no complaints about a man supporting his wife, but after that I have to raise the child and Zhixia. I'm giving you this money because I know your life will be difficult in the future. Don't be greedy and think it's too little." He withdrew the lawsuit and no longer pursued Lin Yan's responsibility. However, Lin Yan's work was still affected. The company boss was afraid that she would really be involved in a lawsuit that would affect the company, and ruthlessly fired her. After that, she seemed to be cursed. The resumes she submitted for jobs disappeared without a trace, and she never passed an interview again. My depression also continued to worsen. In order to take care of me, she had no choice but to give up looking for a job and concentrated on staying at home with me. A life of income falling short of expenses could not last long. When I knew her salary was almost used up, I took out the card Shen Yanxiu gave me and told her that there were 100,000 yuan in it and asked her to withdraw it for emergency use. As a result, Lin Yan went to the bank to withdraw money and found out that there wasn't a penny in it. Shen Yanxiu also sent me a message at this time. Lin Yan made a scene at the law firm and damaged Jixia's reputation. I gave her that 100,000 yuan as compensation for what you did to her. I will never forget how embarrassed we were when we left Nanching. We stayed in a cheap hotel for a few dozen yuan to save money, took a 24-hour bus, and the two of us ate the same bucket of instant noodles. Shen Yanxiu, shouldn't I hate you? I raised my eyes to meet his gaze. Yan is right, my suffering was all brought about by you. If I hadn't been with you, hadn't experienced warmth, I wouldn't have been so desperate because of your relentless persecution. I loved him for 15 years and almost died 3 times for him. The first time was when I gave birth to Shen Yanxiu. I almost died in childbirth. The second time was when he proposed divorce. I was surrounded by pain, and depression swallowed an overdose of sleeping pills, almost killing me. The third time was when I lost everything completely and my depression relapsed, and I stood on the balcony and almost jumped. He made me completely lose the ability to love. Shouldn't I hate him? Nian, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Over the years, I've also regretted it, thinking that if I hadn't been away on a business trip when you gave birth to Lele and had been with you the whole time, wouldn't we have ended up like this? There are many temptations in life. Who can guarantee that if you resist the first time, you can resist the second time? He's just deceiving himself. Shen Yanxiu, go back. Don't come looking for me again. I ignored him and pretended not to see him. Su Zhixia refused to give up and brought her child to the kindergarten to make trouble. She said to the parents in my class, "Jiang Nianchu is morally corrupt. She seduced my husband and tricked my child. You parents should pay more attention to your husbands. Don't be deceived by this fox." Shen Yanxiu's little face flushed red as he was watched by passers-by. He kept struggling to leave. "You ungrateful wretch. I should have strangled you in the first place." Su Zhixia viciously pressed his shoulders to stop him from moving. When Lin Yan and I arrived after hearing the news, we happened to hear Shen Yanxiu angrily shout, "Let go of me. You're not my mom. You're a bad person." As he spoke, he lowered his head and bit Su Zhixia's hand hard. Su Zhixia cried out in pain and subconsciously raised her hand to hit him. But he was quick-witted and quickly ran to me and hid behind me. "So, that's why you dared to bite me. It's because she told you to do it. Come and see, everyone. This shameless woman stole my husband and stole my son." The parents of the students in the class recognized me and looked at Shen Yanxiu, who was hiding behind me. Confused, they asked, "You said this child is yours, but how come this child looks more like Teacher Jiang?" That's right, the two of them look like they were carved out of the same mold. "Teacher Jiang, is this your child?" Hearing this, Su Zhixia looked at me triumphantly. I was deprived of visitation and custody rights, which means that the child and I have nothing to do with each other anymore. If I admitted it, she would use the previous method and report to the police. This child is indeed Jiang Nianchu's child. Shen Yanxiu rushed over after learning that Su Zhixia was making trouble at the kindergarten. "Shen Yanxiu, what are you talking about? She was by you." Shen Yanxiu glanced at her indifferently and took out a certificate from the folder. "I have agreed to Jiang Nianchu's visitation rights for the child. She is the child's biological mother, and she has the right to see the child." Are you crazy?" Su Zhixia snatched the document from his hand in disbelief and read it word by word. "Shen Yanxiu, you bastard. You clearly said that you would make me worry-free, and Shen Yanxiu would only be my son. You did this, have you thought about me?" "Yes, I did promise you, but why don't you see what you've done? Don't think I don't know what you did to the child, locking him in a dark room, not giving him food, and scolding Jiang Nianchu in front of the child every day, trying to distort his values." Shen Yanxiu's words were accusations against her. but I clenched my fists when I heard it. He couldn't have just found out about these things recently. He knew what Su Zhixia was doing to the child, but he chose to ignore it. How is that different from being an accomplice? Facing the gazes of the crowd watching the show, I opened my mouth calmly. Shen Yanxiu, I want to appeal and win back custody of the child. As soon as I finished speaking, Lin Yan walked out of the crowd, holding up her phone. I agree. Thank you, Attorney Shen and Attorney Su, for the evidence for the lawsuit. Oh, by the way, you are distorting the facts here and slandering others at will. We can also sue you for defamation. Nian, don't do this. The child is sensible. He wouldn't want to see his parents. Shen Yanxiu, the child is indeed sensible. He now has his own ideas and can choose who he wants to be with. I respect the child's choice. Shen Yanxiu subconsciously lowered his eyes to look at Shensil, but he avoided his gaze and continued to hide behind me.
Shenji, come out.
No. I want mom. You're all bad people. Shensil suddenly burst into tears. Everyone in our community says you and she are bad people. You forced my mom away and won't let her see me. You're bad people. I don't want you. Hearing this, Shen Yanxiu and Su Zhixia were stunned. The person who spent the most time with Shensil was the nanny at home. And the nanny would take him to play downstairs in the community every day. Lin Yan had made a scene there when she came to pick me up. Many people knew what had happened. I just didn't expect them to tell these things to the child as a joke. After this incident, I filed an appeal the next day. The child is growing up and has his own ideas. Shen Yanxiu couldn't stop me. This was the second time I stood with him in court. But this time, I was completely different from before. I have a stable job, I'm clear and logical, and the child chose me. In the end, custody of the child was naturally awarded to me. The weather that day was also different from 5 years ago. Today, the wind is howling, but my heart is as warm as the bright sun. Lin Yan and I held the child's hand and walked out, smiling. As I passed Shen Yanxiu, I heard him say, Nian, can we go back to the way we were? I didn't turn around and didn't respond. It wasn't until a long time later that the news of Shen Yanxiu and Su Zhixia's divorce lawsuit came out. The reason was that Shen Yanxiu got drunk and had a room with another woman. And that woman was Su Zhixia's apprentice. When I learned about this, I looked at the child next to me and gently asked him, Shensil, would you like to take my surname? His eyes lit up, and he nodded heavily. Yes,